President Biden is in political trouble. His poll numbers are practically on the ocean floor. 70% of the American people think his first car was a chariot. At times, his vice president talks like she's from outer space.
Senator John Kennedy this morning on the television. Always great. I often say his first car was made of wood. But a chariot might actually be better. That's pretty good. Well, happy Thursday to you and welcome back. We continue to be at 888-630-9625. 9625. 888-630-9625. That's what I'm telling you. Talking about Democrats because they make the crazy go round, don't they? They certainly do. The president of Harvard, President Gay. It's a consistent theme running through everything they do, isn't there? President Gay, she's hanging in there. She's dug her fingernails into the leather-topped desk in the Harvard president's office. A lot happened, even on Capitol Hill yesterday. Even Democrats voting on a resolution saying that Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, should go. She should be fired. She should resign because, the other one, the University of Pennsylvania, she went because they're virulent anti-Semites. They're pro-terror. They're pro-kidnapping and rape. They're not on the side of civilization. They're leftists. That's the thing about them. And I want to update you on that because there was some activity on Capitol Hill yesterday. In addition to the big thing, well, a couple of things on Capitol Hill with Hunter Biden defying the Congress. He's in contempt of Congress, and he's on camera expressing his contempt for Congress. And our corrupt, filthy news media is applauding the contempt of Congress because they're leftists and they're corrupt people. All leftists are corrupt. Not necessarily every liberal, but all leftists are definitely corrupt. And the Democrat Party is run by leftists and not liberals. There's barely a liberal to be found anywhere there. And it is important. The Washington Times has the story on the front page. House approves Biden impeachment probe. Washington loves a good probe, don't they? Everybody loves a good probe, especially an ever-expanding probe. They love an expanding probe. That's why there's so much lube needed in Washington, D.C. Investigators can obtain evidence, witness testimony for inquiry, except for Hunter Biden's, because Hunter Biden, he faces contempt charge for bailing on deposition, is also on the front page of the Washington Times today. They cover the real news. And they got a picture of the crackhead here with the Capitol Dome behind him. He was being escorted around by Chinese Communist Party shill and longtime Fang dater, Eric Swalwell. And here's Hunter Biden. He got a new haircut for his lie. He kind of shaved a little bit. Looks like he was not smoking crack within a few minutes of arriving. And the Secret Service provided armored SUV, big Chevy Suburban. And they have the Capitol Dome behind him. It was all a dog and pony show. Our entire political system is a terrible, terrible cable television show. Speaking of racists, you weren't speaking of racists. Sure I was. I was talking about Democrats. And you know that Hunter Biden, he had Russian prostitutes, but he didn't have any prostitutes of color, did he? Proving that he's racist, obviously. And he knocked up the stripper downtown Washington, D.C., had the illegitimate child, nice young lady, Navy Joan Roberts, and the family has abandoned the grandchild that they don't want to acknowledge. In fact, this year they have no Christmas stockings on the White House fireplace at all, because last year they had Christmas stockings for all the grandchildren except for the one they don't acknowledge because the crackhead son knocked up the stripper on K Street. It was a K Street stripper, right? I think that's right. Because, K Street is full of all kinds of people that are for sale and for rent. But let me get to Boston because this is madness. I talked about it yesterday, and there's an update. And we've got Rashida Tlaib lying while she explains on MSDNC to Joyless Reed what the phrase "from the river to the sea" means. And she lies and lies and lies because, they lie all the time. They're big liars. Now, you may remember the news stories that the fake news media doesn't cover very often of college campuses having racially segregated graduation ceremonies. All the best colleges have racially segregated graduation ceremonies. This ceremony in this building or in this field on this day is for African American students graduating. Over here, you have Asian students graduating. They got to have a separate ceremony because everybody graduates with honors. It's kind of a terrible thing. Everybody gets a special, a medal around the neck. It takes a little more time because everybody graduates with honors, which is why Harvard won't allow Asians in if they can prevent them from getting in. It's why they had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to fight Harvard because they were openly discriminating against Asians because they don't want all those honor students on their campuses. They got to have it another way. But the headlines: colleges expand, quote, segregated, end quote, graduation events, May 5th of 2023 in the Washington Times. And it's because Democrats are racists and always have been. Universities are expanding, because that's what they like to have, expanding things. Expanding the practice of having racially segregated graduation ceremonies across America. Georgetown University, the University of Oklahoma, that's disgraceful. Illinois State University, Grand Valley State University, they have the Grand Wizard presides over at Grand Valley State University. In Michigan, a growing number of schools across the country holding special ceremonies for black graduation in upcoming weeks. This was back in May, as I said. As the academic year winds down, dozens of campuses have added special graduations for LGBTQ students, illegal immigrant students, Filipinics, I'm not kidding, that's genderless Filipinos that have no gender. Separate graduation, that's two people at the campus because they're mental. The Democrat Party is completely mental. That is amazing stuff. You have Filipino students, and they call it Filipinics with an X on it. Like Joe Biden says that genderless Latinos are Latinx. It sounds like a bathroom tissue because Joe Biden has no idea what he's talking about on any given day at any given moment. The UCLA and UC Berkeley, both members of the University of California system, will host Filipinx and Filipino ceremonies for Filipino Americans graduating this year. And they have a separate one for genderless Filipinos, one just for that's a country, by the way, not a race or a distinct group, except by nation. But that's your Democrat Party. And now they're racists. Let's just start with that. That's racist. The left-wing website called The Conversation had a story with African-American students throwing their mortarboards in the air with their blue robes on at graduation. And it says, attacks on segregated graduation ceremonies overlook the history of racism on campus. Well, the history of racism on campus is the history of the Democratic Party. And they're keeping racism on campus going. They're keeping it alive today by having racially segregated graduation ceremonies, which they like very much because they're racists. Now, with that said, Harvard University, where they have an anti-Semite as the president, whose name is Claudine Gay, and she's a plagiarist who plagiarized paper after paper. She has very, very limited scholarship. There are real scholars who now, Claudine Gay published 11 papers before becoming the president of Harvard University. There are scholars who don't even have their PhDs yet, who have produced 11 scholarly papers in a month. But never mind that. She is an affirmative action hire up the yin-yang. Everybody knows it. It's an embarrassment to Western civilization. Harvard University is a joke. Harvard University gets more than $600 million taxpayer dollars every year. Can you imagine that? Pull the plug on that stuff immediately. But yesterday, and I talked about it yesterday, the mayor, Democrat of Boston, Mass., they got Harvard University and MIT right across the river over there. Her name is Michelle Wu. She is a left-wing radical Democrat, perfectly in the mainstream with where the Democrat Party is today. She's a racist and a segregationist. She's a terrible person, and nobody in their right mind likes her or admires her. But she used to be on the city council. I was reading about her this morning. She was on the Boston City Council, and her big moment of pride is when she pushed through an ordinance that would prevent health insurers from discriminating their coverage against transgender individuals. That's her big thing, and that's the thing. Now, Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, as I shared with you yesterday, her office accidentally, they sent out an email inviting only people of color to their holiday party, excluding white members of the Boston City Council, of which there are a number, but only the people of color, POC, were invited to her holiday party, which is not called a Christmas party. I assume Jews are counted as white people and not invited to the holiday party by the racists, who also, by the way, went to Harvard University. She is pretty amazing. She's 38 years old, born in Chicago, Illinois. She's a Democrat. She got her BA and her JD, her law degree, from the Harvard University, according to her Wikipedia page. She is a Chinese American, and she was born, I believe, in Taiwan, which she wants the communists to take over with brutal military force. I don't know that for sure. I just assume that's the case. The daughter of Taiwanese immigrants. She was the first Asian American woman to serve on the Boston City Council. That is to say that there are plenty of women and plenty of Asian Americans before her, but she's the first Asian American woman. They love being the first at something completely irrelevant, but they're racists. Now, yesterday I shared with you the email that was sent out from Michelle Wu's office, Democrat Boston mayor. You know, the land of the Liberty Trail and the Freedom Trail and all this great stuff, the Boston Tea Party. And these people are anti-civilization. They might as well be Hamas. And they are the biggest racists in the country. There are no Klansmen in this country that are more racist than Michelle Wu. She should be wearing black robes and a pointed black hood. Or maybe, I don't know what color, it may be brown. We'll just make it brown. Because they're racists. They're complete racists. And I don't think the Washington Post has this story. They don't cover the news at the Washington Post. Now, I shared with you the email yesterday that came from her minion, who her minion put her pronouns on the email, by the way, and they were she, her, hers, whatever these mental cases do. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu defends electeds of color holiday party. First of all, the use of the word electeds is ridiculous. And then of color. And then holiday party, not Christmas party, even though you're clearly not inviting the Jews. But that's okay. After invitation backlash, called it an honest mistake. It was nothing of the kind. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu defended holding a holiday party for electeds of color just hours before hosting the controversial gathering inside the city's official reception hall on Wednesday. Wu, Michelle Wu. Is she named for the Wuhan Red Death, do you think, for the virus? Wu, because I just call it the Wu. Doesn't everybody just call it the Wu now, the Wuhan or the Wu? Wu admitted it was a mistake that every member of the Boston City Council received invitations to the controversial holiday party. She admitted it was a mistake to send the email to white people. That's what she's admitting was a mistake. That's pretty amazing. And Denise Dos Santos, who sent out the email. I wanted to apologize for my previous email regarding a holiday party for tomorrow. I did send that to everyone by accident. I apologize if my email may have offended or came across as so. That's grammatically incorrect. Sorry for any confusion this may have caused, says Denise Dos Soto. It didn't cause, and then she has her pronouns, she, her, hers. It didn't cause any confusion. It clarified the fact that you're bigots, that you're racists, that you're segregationists, that you are grotesque human beings, that you're anti-civilization. It clarified. And check your grammar next time, Denise. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Now, the Democrat Party is being exposed all over the place as the pigs that they are. Violent, mob street violence. Bernie Sanders volunteers shooting Steve Scalise and trying to murder the entire baseball team of Republican members of Congress in a suicide attack. Suicide attacks on police on Capitol Hill in New York City and Dallas and Baton Rouge. Self-immolations in Atlanta, Georgia. Still don't have an identifier on that woman that self-immolated at the Israeli consulate there. Self-immolating at the Supreme Court. The Democrat Party is mental. They don't know what their gender is. And now Michelle Wu. I've got a couple of local news. Let me go to the local ABC news story in Boston on Michelle Wu and her racially segregated. Now, I wouldn't want to go to her stinking party anyway at this point, but here's Michelle Wu. Listen to the weasel words that this snake-like woman uses.
I think we've had individual conversations with everyone so people understand that it was truly just an honest mistake that went out in typing the email field, and I look forward to celebrating with everyone at the holiday parties that we will have besides this one.
Besides this one. It was a mistake, and the news media is pretending, oh, she apologized. She said it's just a mistake. What she said, and she went to Harvard, what she said was she apologized. It was a mistake that we sent the email invitation to the white people. That's actually what she said. The mistake was including white people on the email list. It was in the address field where the mistake was made in inviting Caucasians. She's a dedicated racist. She is an escapee from Taiwan, communism. And then they come here and they adopt it. I guess you learned that at Harvard. And racism and anti-Semitism. Nobody asked her if she invited the Jews. Are you inviting the Jews? Because that's a thread these days.
It is my intention that we can, again, be a city that lives our values and create space for all kinds of communities to come together.
The mayor apologized for any confusion the original email created.
Values, space, community, all these BS platitudes that leftists bandy about. And the pronoun sporting Denise DeSantos, who is barely literate herself, with her idiotic, and it's a non-apology apology. What they apologize for, and the mistake that they have admitted to, is that they accidentally sent the invitations to white people. That is literally what they have acknowledged doing wrong, is accidentally in the address field adding the names of the other city council members who are not POC, people of color. That is to say, these people. I guess there is one Republican on the Boston City Council. His name is Frank Baker, and he has announced that he's leaving the city council probably because it's like hanging out with the KKK. But WGBH, which I believe is one of those panhandler broadcasting stations that suckles on the taxpayer teat. Frank Baker, comma, a lonely conservative voice, comma, to leave Boston City Council, is the headline from the taxpayer-funded left-wing propaganda, April 20th of 2023. Frank Baker, the Boston City Council's conservative Dorchester stalwart, announced he will not seek re-election. After a lengthy deliberation, I am confident and certain. This is my time to depart the council and serve in a different capacity, the six-term council member said in a statement. Baker's statement failed to mention specific reasons for his departure. Like they're attacking him for announcing that he's leaving. But his announcement comes as the Boston City Council, which has shifted leftward in recent years and more racist and anti-Semitic, struggles to govern with civility. I wonder why that is. The council also awaits a federal ruling in a lawsuit that could impact the shape of the city's voting map. Wait, the Democrats corrupted the shape of the city's voting map? Had to be taken to court. For the next decade, Baker, the lone conservative, whose district saw some of the biggest changes with the new map, mean they redistricted the one conservative's district so that he would lose the next time around, has helped fund the suit. One counselor has publicly labeled the lawsuit as frivolous and then burned the town down, while other Boston politicians have quietly agreed. They wouldn't want to admit the truth out loud because they're leftists. Now let's get back to the racist, segregationist Democrat mayor of Boston, who is, as everyone knows, a terrible person and a Harvard grad. And honestly, this stuff is normal now. You know why? The Democrat Party, which made it normal just, on the lead up to the Civil War and during the Civil War and after the Civil War and during the Jim Crow era, is renormalizing out in the open racism and segregation. Now let's go to the 7 News in Boston, Mass., with their coverage of the racist mayor.
Mistake or not, City Councilor Frank Baker says this is just one example of the racial divisions inside City Hall.
Well, yeah, I do find it divisive, but, what are you going to do about it? You don't want me at a party, I'm not going to come to the party, so, You don't
want me to party, I'm not going to come to the party, so he's long conservative. Now, it's not that he wasn't invited because he's conservative, all that I'm sure would have been enough as well, but he was not invited because he's white, and that's normal with the Democrat Party. It is, creating coalitions, race-based coalitions. And this is what the Democrat Party's voting strategy is. This is what their electoral strategy is. That's why you hear, oh no, Joe Biden lost 1.5 points with black men in the Midwest in a key swing state. And they panic and then they self-immolate. Sometimes they self-immolate from time to time. So Frank Baker, if you don't want me at the party, I'm not coming to the party. And he's leaving the city council, and they redistricted the lone conservative, the lonely conservative on the Boston City Council, because that's what communists do. One man, one vote, one time. And you know how they love to complain about redistricting? Gerrymandering. That's just another lie that they peddle because they're a bunch of hooahs. So that's a bunch of hooahs. 7 News in Boston.
City officials say the event has been happening for years, and the mayor is defending the party.
I can understand someone would be confused or
Nobody's
worried
confused.
If, certain people weren't being invited at all or were being left out of any type of celebration, but I assure you, everyone on the Boston City Council has gotten an invitation to multiple types of events and holiday parties.
Nervous laughter to multiple, just not this racist one. We've got this, and they don't call it a Christmas party, right? They call it a holiday party. Unaware, no doubt, Harvard grad though she may be, that holiday is a contraction of holy day. That's what the word holiday derives from. Holy day. But these ignorant, Ivy League educated, racist, segregationists, anti-Semites that call themselves liberals are Democrats. Every stinking one of them. And that should be noted because they're the Democrat Party. They're the Democrat Party today. Just extraordinary. Extraordinary stuff. Yes, sir. And the Boston Herald, Michelle Wu defends holiday party, excluding white city councilors. And she's out there saying, oh, no, it was a mistake that we sent the email to the white members. That's the mistake that they're admitting to. And that's good enough. Now, is CNN covering this racist story of the racist Michelle Wu, Democrat, Harvard? Of course they're not. MSDNC? Of course they're not. Hey, here's my Washington Post. I wonder where the Michelle Wu racist holiday party story is here. Just great. Just great stuff. You know, Elise Stefanik, the Republican congresswoman from New York, is also a Harvard grad. Is there anybody that didn't go to Harvard? Michael, when did you graduate from Harvard? Honestly. Jasmine, when did you finish up at Harvard? Still working on it. Very young. The Washington Post does have Harvard alum Stefanik leads charge against elite colleges. It's the elite colleges, and there's a charge being led by a Harvard grad. Isn't that amazing? Just extraordinary. But the Washington Post, they don't cover the news because, you know, Democrats. Just amazing stuff. And they don't, you know, that if you told them they're racist, they would look confused. They would look puzzled. They would be befuddled. And I came to a conclusion this morning. I was at home on the couch with my best girl going through the news before coming into the radio station and stuff, having a lovely time, having a wonderful time. And I said, you know, with all these racist Democrats loving Hamas and hating Israel and Harvard and MIT and University of Pennsylvania, Boston City Hall with the Democrats running there, I think that it's, and the illiterate Denise Dos Soto putting out a statement saying, I did send that email to everyone by accident. I apologize if my email may have offended or came across as so. What does came across as so mean, illiterate one? She probably went to Harvard, too. Harvard is perhaps the most unimpressive university. Honestly, it's just extraordinary stuff. But I decided this morning that maybe it's time to, you know, because the racism and all this stuff. When Hamas attacked Israel, they probably forgot, because of low IQs being so rampant, they probably forgot that Israel provides them with all their electricity. And they probably forgot that without Israel, they will have no clean water to drink, for cooking, for showering. Oh, that may not be much of an issue. And when they attacked Israel, and then there's international outrage. Oh, no, their electricity's, the poor terrorists had their electricity because they attacked the people that provide them electricity. And all this anti-white racism. I'm thinking maybe we just take away their electricity. What do you think? Michael's a white man. Let's take away the electricity and the clean water from, well, let's just say all of Boston. We'll just start with all of Boston. That's these people are appalling. They really are just horrible, terrible people. And they like it that way. Segregation, racism. Have a whites-only party at another city hall, and then you'll see CNN and NBC cover it. Then they'll cover it. Then they'll be screaming. They'll be drowning in their own blood. They'd be wetting themselves. What is this, a whites-only holiday party? Not a Christmas party, just Holy Day party. Amazing stuff. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think maybe it's time to take away electricity. Might as well. Just to make a point. I don't want to go to their party, though. I'll tell you that. Let me tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. All right, we've got a lot of audio to get to because the Democrats gave us a lot of stuff yesterday. That's only part of it. We got Hunter Biden. We got Joe Biden. We've got the fact that, and it's not on the front page of the Washington Post. They've got a pro-Palestinian story on the front page of the Washington Post above the fold, though, with a photograph of Hamas POWs being taken away in an Israeli military truck. And they didn't kill them all or cut their heads off, bring them to tunnels and rape them or anything, but humiliating images of Palestinians condemned. Claims that detainees were Hamas militants come under scrutiny. Yeah, claims, because, believe whatever terrorist goes by. And they're upset because they don't have shirts. The reason they don't have shirts is because they show up with suicide vests on to blow themselves up. A lot of Democrat suicide attackers. I just listed a few of those, too. And they hide weapons like big knives and razors in their clothing. So when they capture the terrorists, they take their shirts and they check them for razors and knives and explosives and, of course, guns. But how dare the Israelis capture the enemies and take their shirts? They're condemned, and that's the story. That's the story there. No story on Michelle Wu in the Washington Post because the Washington Post approves. Also, a front page story. Apparently, this climate thing going on in the Middle East is still ongoing in Dubai. And the headline is, Deal calls for moving away from fossil fuels. Hey, why didn't we think of that? So they meet for months in Dubai, staying in Four Seasons hotels. I know. Let's stop using all fossil fuels. Well, everybody else, not us. And they're very excited to announce that, like it's a big announcement of some kind. Hey, wait a minute. Let's ban fossil fuels. So that's what's coming out of that thing. Remarkable. Remarkable. All right, I'm going to get to Hunter Biden and Stephen Colbert. Ridiculous. Got some Joe Biden. I've got Jim Jordan for you, James Comer, because there's a lot going on the Biden family front. Whistleblowers being vindicated and all of that good stuff. Got Democrats blocking the highway in California because they love Hamas and hate the Jews. Rashida Tlaib lying about what the phrase from the river to the sea means because she's a liar and a psycho and a racist. And and hopefully I can get to the trailer from the Hollywood movie called Civil War. And the Civil War is about the upcoming Civil War in the United States, not the old Civil War where the Democrats fired on Fort Sumter and the Democrats elected Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederate States of America, but the next Civil War that the Democrats in Hollywood are apparently now pushing for. All right, let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Paul calling from Cook County, Illinois, home of WLS and the city of Chicago. Hey, Paul, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. If these city councilors, the white city councilors of Boston, had a funny bone, they'd all show up to this holiday party in blackface.
Oh, sure, that'd go over really big, and then it would make the news. I can assure you, it would make the news. Show up at the party was last night, and they weren't invited, so they didn't show. And there were no riots outside either, which there would have been if you just reversed the equation, right? Now, of course, Democrats are famous for showing up in blackface for all kinds of things, and it's just fine. It's just fine. From Hollywood actors to left-wing politicians in Canada to, Ted Danson and who is it, Joyous Behar and all kinds of, they show up in blackface. But if you're not a leftist, you can't do that, Paul. They'll burn the city down.
Yes, they will. Chris, my family members have asked me what I want for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And I've told them all I want a Remember Normal T-shirt from the Chris Plant store.
That is a great idea.
Chris, bye.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's great. A Remember Normal. Boy, we're more in need of Remember Normal than ever before. In fact, in that Barack Obama movie, there's a scene where there is no more normal. They say there's no normal to go back to. And that's the Democrat Party's plan. It's the war on normal, being led by a violent, racist, segregationist party that calls itself the Democratic Party. Ah, yes. Now, the Democrat Party has interestingly become anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas. Didn't see that coming. But we just had a story pop a few minutes ago. Teen arrested and charged with planning a mass shooting at an Ohio synagogue. Authorities in Ohio arrested and charged a 13-year-old boy for making a detailed plan to carry out a mass shooting at a synagogue in Canton, Ohio. Newly revealed court documents show. Local NBC affiliate 3 News obtained the documents from a Stark County court official, which showed that the teen has been charged with 2 misdemeanors, because an anti-Semitic mass murder is a misdemeanor, including inducing panic and disorderly conduct. Plotting a mass murder is disorderly conduct now. The teen's name has been redacted due to his age in the documents, which added that the individual 13-year-old male did create a detailed plan to complete a mass shooting at the Temple Israel on the Discord platform. That's an online thing, which was reported to law enforcement and required immediate investigatory response. That's what was required, an immediate investigatory response. And notification of public individuals. Who speaks like this? And agencies, including the school system, in which caused significant public alarm within those agencies. NBC Fake News noted that authorities first became aware of the plot on September 1st. That's some time ago now, isn't it? And notified the school system, which caused significant public alarm within those agencies. The Anti-Defamation League released a statement saying, "We are horrified that a young teen has been arrested and accused of planning a mass shooting at a synagogue in Canton, Ohio. We thank law enforcement for its thorough investigation." And he's been charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct. I'm going to tell you, the wheels are coming off everywhere you look. Also, it should be noted, the House of Representatives passed a resolution condemning testimony by university presidents over their flagrant anti-Semitism. The House did that yesterday. I think even a couple of Democrats agreed, but it's hard to get them to agree with anything reasonable.